The Honourable Louise Upston.
Mr Speaker, I wish to speak in support of the Environment Canterbury Transitional Governance Arrangements Bill in its third reading. This bill is, of course, a result of the ministerial review of Environment Canterbury's governance and resource management arrangements, led by the Minister for the Environment, the Honourable Dr Nick Smith, and myself. It has come about after significant engagement and consultation with Canterbury stakeholders, including each of the 10 territorial authorities, Te Runanga o Ngāi Tahu, members of the public and other organisations. I am pleased to see this bill pass through its final stages of the House after thorough consultation and debate in the Local Government and Environment Committee and a successful Committee of the Whole House, Mr Speaker, which clarified an issue regarding the resource management provisions in the bill, which was raised after it was reported back. The bill will put in a transitional mixed model governance structure for ECAN of 7 elected councillors. So I do want to put on record the correction of the Speaker before me. Everyone in Canterbury will have a vote, as they should. They will get a vote for the majority of their councillors. There will be up to six appointed members for the 2016 term of local government, and it will come out after 6 years of commissioners at ECAN who were appointed under the Environment Canterbury Temporary Commissioners and Improved Water Management Act of 2010. Mr Speaker, I do want to put on record my disgust at the Speaker before me's representations of the Creech report, and I actually was beginning to wonder if she'd actually read the same report that I have. When the original Act was passed in 2010, the Government was hearing serious concerns about the ability of the Council to fulfil both its statutory functions and duties, but also importantly, Mr Speaker, to provide clear direction and strategy for how to manage the resources, the region's unique and significant freshwater resources. ECAN reported meeting only 29% of its statutory timeframes in the Ministry for the Environment's 2007-8 survey of local authorities, the worst in the country by a large margin. Also, the Council could not legally implement its strategy for freshwater management in the region, and the result was over-allocation and mismanagement of water in Canterbury. Mr Speaker, it is clear from the speech that we've just heard by the opposition member is that Labor is attempting to rewrite history. It also clearly demonstrates how out of touch they are with the people of the Canterbury region. They are clearly not listening. They've clearly not been paying attention. It is no surprise, actually that's why National took some of those seats in the last election and in the 2011 election, because actually that side of the House is completely out of touch with the concerns of the people of the street in Canterbury and have completely forgotten the unprecedented step of 10 mayors, I'll say that again, 10 mayors expressing their complete loss of confidence in the Council, and also not only the 10 mayors, Ngāi Tahu and other major stakeholders. That is a significant issue, and this government, of course, was going to take significant action to address it. But just as importantly, Mr Speaker, it's about managing the transition back so that the people of Canterbury have complete confidence in the ability of the Environment Canterbury to function well beyond this point in time. So what we've seen, Mr Speaker, since the Commissioners have been in place, significant improvements at ECAN. In the most recent quarterly report, the Council is now meeting 99% of its statutory timeframes. Stakeholders, of course, such as Ngāi Tahu and the territorial authorities are also reporting considerable improvements in the relationships, which is a significant part of a region working successfully. The Commissioners have also spearheaded the efforts to establish a freshwater planning framework in Canterbury by taking a collaborative approach through the region's 10 zone committees to apply local solutions to sustainable freshwater management. So while the Commissioners have made considerable progress in their time at Environment Canterbury, I do want to remind the House that it is at a critical stage for the region. There is still work to do to complete the comprehensive planning framework for freshwater management in Canterbury, the majority of which is due to be completed by 2019, not 2016, 2019. An abrupt loss of the knowledge and the expertise that's been brought by the Commissioners at this single point in time would have a significant impact on the momentum that ECAN has made. It's also important, as I said before, to manage the transition so that the members of the community can be assured of continued success and progress. So there have been some amendments recommended by the Local Government and Environment Committee. The bill doesn't just continue the momentum of progress that we've seen, but it builds on by strengthening the partnership with Ngāi Tahu. The bill will require that 2 of the appointments to ECAN be made on recommendation from the Runanga, recognising their interests and guardianship role in the Canterbury region, its environment and natural resources. Mr Speaker, the bill also retains, as my colleague talked about, some of the special resource management arrangements put in place by the 2010 Act. However, some of the special powers will be withdrawn. The bill being read today also incorporates a change brought about by a supplementary order paper regarding the limited appeals powers. Following the Local Government and Environment Committee's report back, it became apparent that the provisions as drafted had the potential to cause legal uncertainty around plans which would be subject to limited appeals. So the supplementary order paper better clarifies the intention of the policy position. And that means the restriction of limited appeals to freshwater plans and policy statements. Mr Speaker, I'd like to thank all of those who took the time to provide their input and feedback into both the ministerial review and the resulting bill, including the 10 District and City Council of Canterbury, Ngāi Tahu, members of the public and other organisations, as well as the work of the Local Government and Environment Committee. As I said before, this work is important for Canterbury and the wider Canterbury region. I do want to put on record my personal thanks to the Chair of Environment Canterbury, Dame Margaret Baisley, and the Commissioners who've worked incredibly hard over the last 6 years, as well as officials from DIA, from the Ministry for the Environment and Parliamentary Council Office, who have all worked incredibly hard on this bill before, during and after its consideration by the Local Government and Select Committee. Thank you, Mr Speaker.